Hey, I'm Jamie East, and today's episode of The Smart 7 is sponsored by Vodafone Business in partnership with Samsung. If you're running a business, any kind of business, you're probably spending some time thinking about AI, what to do, how much to use it, and how to get started. The answer could be in your pocket. The Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, powered by Vodafone Business's reliable award-winning network, will help you unleash your productivity through brilliant built-in Galaxy AI. And over the next few weeks, we're going to answer some of the questions you might have about how best to unlock the power of AI in your business. For example,
how can I adapt the way I currently work to include AI?
Start small, identify repetitive or slow tasks, test AI tools for those and build them into existing processes. For example, drafting emails, summarising meetings or automating social posts. Remember to train staff to treat AI as an assistant, not a replacement, and create simple checklists for when AI should be used. If you've got a Galaxy S25 Ultra, you can also use Now Brief, a Galaxy AI feature. It's a daily report personalised for you and schedule reminders so you can stay prepared and focused. Getting back to the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, to take advantage of the features and change the way you do business, you'll need a Samsung account and a network connection. To find out more, search Vodafone Business Samsung, and for network verification, go to vodafone.co.uk/network. Access to On today's Smart 7, Jamaica battered by Hurricane Melissa, Gaza ceasefire under threat, and much more. It's Wednesday the 29th of October, it's Feed the Birds Day, and happy birthday, Winona Ryder.
The Smart 7. It's news, but not the news.
The government has been spurred into action after a damning report from a cross-party Commons committee that accused the Home Office of squandering billions on a malfunctioning accommodation system for asylum seekers. Labour had pledged to end the use of asylum hotels by the end of its term in 2029, but the new report seems to have kicked things into high gear, with the Prime Minister sounding annoyed about the state of the asylum system.
Well, I'm really angry that we were left with this complete mess by the last government. They didn't process tens of thousands of asylum seekers, and that meant that people who had no right to be here couldn't be removed because they hadn't been processed.
He says they've deployed more resources to speed up the process of appeals and deportations, and he says he's instructed Home Office and Ministry of Defence officials to go faster and go further when it comes to identifying military bases where asylum seekers can be housed. The first two sites identified are military bases in Inverness and East Sussex, and Defence Minister Luke Pollard says it's the right call.
We believe that these bases can provide adequate accommodation for asylum seekers, and that will enable us to take the pressure off the asylum hotel estate and enable those to be closed at a faster rate.
Jamaica was hit on Tuesday by the full force of Category 4 Hurricane Melissa, with at least 3 deaths reported before the storm had fully travelled across the island. With winds of over 185 miles per hour and huge volumes of rain, there has been flooding reported across Jamaica's southwestern coast, along with power cuts. The Category 4 storm is now headed for Cuba, with the US National Weather Service describing it as an extremely dangerous major hurricane. Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness spoke to CNN immediately after the storm had passed and says that it will take time to assess the full impact, but that his government are prepared for rescue efforts.
It is clear that wherever the eye of the hurricane hit, there would be devastating impacts. And the reports that we have had so far would include damage to hospitals and damage to our road infrastructure.
Dr. Nadia Bloemendaal is a Dutch climate scientist, and she says the increasing power of hurricanes like Melissa are clearly related to climate change.
Here you have a Category 5 event. These storm surges are getting higher. Everything that Melissa is showing is in the line of what we know of what climate change is doing with hurricanes.
Donald Trump has headed to South Korea for the final leg of his Asian tour. He's due to meet Chinese Premier Xi Jinping on Thursday in advance of the Asia-Pacific Cooperation Summit, which opens in South Korea on Friday. The White House announced over the weekend that a new trade framework with Beijing had been agreed, but it's not clear whether or not that will result in any kind of formal agreement being signed this week. Before he left Japan, the US president addressed troops on board the USS George Washington, which is stationed near Tokyo. He was keen to talk about his plans for the National Guard back home in the US, however.
And you know, people don't care if we send in our military, if we send in our National Guard, if we send in Space Command. They don't care who the hell it is, they just want to be safe.
The Gaza ceasefire came under renewed pressure on Tuesday as Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu accused Hamas of violating the peace agreement on 2 occasions. The first was when one of the bodies returned to Israel turned out not to be one of the missing hostages. The second was an attack on IDF forces in Rafah, although Hamas denied any involvement in that incident. The 2 events, however, were enough for the Israeli PM to order a fresh round of strikes in Gaza, which left at least 7 dead. Israeli government spokesman David Mencer was busy defending Israel's right to enforce the terms of the peace deal.
Hamas have cheated President Trump. Hamas have cheated the American people. So Prime Minister Netanyahu has said very, very clearly, this is an agreement which we believe in, which we want to succeed, but which we will enforce.
Still to come on today's Smart 7, in association with Metro, Brentford continue a good run, and Hugh Jackman gives Sweet Caroline a go. Right after this.
Hey, I'm Jamie East, and today's episode of the Smart 7 is sponsored by Vodafone Business in partnership with Samsung. When you're running your own business, pretty much anywhere can be your office, the spare room, the back garden, or, like here, the local cafe. With the power of Vodafone Business's reliable award-winning network, combined with the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, there's no limit to what you can do pretty much anywhere. And over the next few weeks, we're going to answer some of the questions you might have about how best to unlock the power of AI in your business. For example,
How can I adapt the way I currently work to include AI?
start small, identify repetitive or slow tasks, test AI tools for those and build them into existing processes, for example drafting emails, summarising meetings or automating social posts. Remember to train staff to treat AI as an assistant, not a replacement, and create simple checklists for when AI should be used. If you've got a Galaxy S25 Ultra, you can also use Now Brief, a Galaxy AI feature. It's a daily report personalised for you and schedule reminders so you can stay prepared and focused. Getting back to the Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra, to take advantage of the Galaxy AI features and change the way you do business, you'll need a Samsung account and a network connection. To find out more, search Vodafone Business Samsung, and for network verification, go to vodafone.co.uk/network.
Welcome back.
There was major drama in Scottish football on Tuesday as Celtic boss Brendan Rodgers was sacked after this weekend's defeat to Hearts. Martin O'Neill is returning as temporary manager, but says he won't stay for the long term as the club looks to stabilise things after a rocky summer transfer window. Tuesday also saw the 4th round of the Carabao Cup get underway with 3 games. Cardiff knocked out Wrexham 2-1, while Fulham went to extra time against Wycombe but won 4-3 on penalties. Brentford made it look easy as they beat Grimsby Town 5-0 to secure a spot in the quarter-finals, to the delight of manager Keith Andrews.
Fans can always get excited. You can see that tonight. I really enjoyed. So I wanted all the staff to go over and engage with them because it's a long way to come to Grimsby for our fans. That's what it's about. It's players and fans. It's always about players and fans, so fans can get as excited as they want.
We haven't seen much of Hugh Jackman recently as he's been busy on Broadway starring in Music Man, but he's also had another project in the making, a Neil Diamond musical. It's called Song Sung Blue, and it traces the story of not Diamond himself, but a Milwaukee Neil Diamond impersonator, and it's based on a real-life documentary. Jackman stars alongside Kate Hudson, the first time they've been on screen together since Almost Famous, and the early critical reaction has been really positive. Jackman was only worried about one particular critic though, and was delighted to get Mr. Diamond's official thumbs up.
Last week I went and sat with Neil, and he'd seen the movie, and he gave it his blessing, and I hope he doesn't mind me telling that. And he goes, "You did a good job, kid." And I was like, yes! So that's why I'm telling it. I want this recorded.
The death was announced on Monday of British actress Prunella Scales. She was probably most famous for her role as Sybil in the comedy Fawlty Towers, which just celebrated its 50th anniversary, and her co-star John Cleese described her as a really wonderful comic actress. She had suffered from vascular dementia in later years, but still lived at home with her children and did much to raise awareness of Alzheimer's. Outside of Fawlty Towers, she and husband Timothy West had a 10-year run with Channel 4's Great Canal Journeys, and she was both a CBE and a BAFTA nominee. John Petrie, director of comedy at the BBC, described her as a national treasure, and before her husband died last year, they spoke to BBC Breakfast about their relationship. Rest in peace, Prunella.
How does it feel to have been married 60 years?
I don't know. What am I supposed to say? Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for sticking me for so long.
Well, we're done all right.
You've been listening to The Smart 7. We'll be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Hit that follow button and have a great day. Give us 7 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Skip the gym, not the workout. With Hydro, you get a full-body workout in just 20 minutes, hitting 86% of your muscles in one smooth, low-impact motion. And now there's the new Hydro Arc, Hydro's most advanced rower yet. Arc introduces Hydrometrics, tracking your power, endurance, and precision every time you row, so you can actually see your progress. Go to hydro.com and use code ROW to get $100 off any Hydro rower, including Arc. That's HYDROW.com, code ROW.